Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, and the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 3rd, 2025. Mayor Foster? Here. Ms. LaMountain? Here. Mr. Pravaduto?
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli is not here this evening. Mr. Romano?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Can we all please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, so we're just going to switch up the two of the proclamations that we're going to start with. We're going to start with the National Water Safety Month. Whereas citizens of Homedale Township, along with the New Jersey Swim Alliance and New Jersey Recreation and Park Association, recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities relate to good physical and mental health and enhance the quality of life for all people, and the citizens of Homedale Township, along with NJSSA and NJRPA, understand the essential role that education regarding the topic of water safety plays in preventing drownings and recreational water-related injuries. And the citizens of Homedale Township, along with the NJSSA and NJRPA, are aware of the contributions made by the recreational water industry as represented by the organizations involved in the National Water Safety Month Coalition in developing safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, home pools and spas, and related activities providing healthy places to recreate, learn, and grow, build self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth, which contributes to the quality of life in our community. And the citizens of Homedale Township, along with the NJSSA and NJRPA, recognize the ongoing efforts and commitments to educate the public on pool and spa safety issues and initiatives by the pool, spa, water park, recreation, and park industries. And the citizens of Homedale Township, along with the NJSSA and NJRPA, understand the vital importance of communicating water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages, whether owners of private pools, users of public swimming facilities, or visitors to water parks. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Homedale do hereby declare the month of May as National Water Safety Month and urge all of those in Homedale Township to support and promote this observance. And I believe, Allison, are you here to accept this proclamation? All right, come on up, please. Let's grab a picture. And I am going to have the Deputy Mayor read the next proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. The next proclamation is the proclamation for Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month. Whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive fatal neurodegenerative disease in which a person's brain loses connection with their muscles, slowly reducing a person's ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. And whereas thousands of new amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, referred to as ALS, cases are reported every year, and estimates show that every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS and someone passes away from ALS. And whereas on average, patients diagnosed with ALS survive only 2 to 5 years from the time of diagnosis, whereas the exact causes of ALS are unknown and there's no known cure for ALS, and whereas people who have served in the military are more likely to develop ALS and die from the disease than those with no history of military service, and whereas securing access to new therapies, durable medical equipment, and communication technologies is of vital importance to people living with ALS. And whereas clinical trials play a pivotal role in evaluating new treatments, enhancing quality of life, and fostering assistive technologies for those living with ALS. Whereas the ALS Association is the largest philanthropic funder of ALS research globally and has committed more than $154 million to support more than 550 projects across the United States and 18 other countries. And whereas the ALS Association is committed to accelerating the pace of discovery, fueled by the hope that one day ALS will be a livable disease for everyone, everywhere, until a cure can be found. And whereas ALS Awareness Month provides an opportunity to increase public awareness of the dire circumstances of people living with ALS, acknowledge the terrible impact this disease has on those individuals and their families, and support research to eradicate this disease. Now therefore be it resolved, the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Homedale do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as ALS Awareness Month. We call upon all Americans to join in supporting ALS research, advocating for increased funding, and standing in solidarity with those affected by this relentless disease. Proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Wendy, I'm just going to pass this down to you. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. And actually, we're going to do one more recognition today. Kind of, I think it just kind of speaks volumes for not just our team and our staff that the chief has going on, but our community as a whole, and just kind of how we live here in town. So, without any further ado, on April 30th at approximately 3:30 a.m., Homedale Police Patrolman James Hurley was on a routine patrol when he spotted a male suspect running across Route 520 from the area of the Village Exxon onto Homedale Road. The suspect was carrying a large garbage bag and was dressed in all-black clothing, wearing gloves and a bandana that was covering his face. Patrolman Hurley immediately attempted to apprehend the subject, activating his emergency lights and ordering the suspect to stop. A perimeter was established, and additional officers responded to assist, including a patrol canine and Homedale's OEM drone as well. Further investigation revealed the suspect burglarized the Village Exxon, removing proceeds of the crime in a garbage bag. Sergeant John Martin located a male suspect walking along the side of the Vonage building, and as Sergeant Martin approached the subject, he immediately began to flee, and a foot pursuit ensued. Sergeant Martin quickly apprehended the subject and took him into custody. The suspect was charged with burglary, theft, trespassing, resisting arrest, and criminal mischief, and lodged in the Monmouth County Correctional Institute. Gentlemen, please allow me to say thank you so much for your outstanding efforts, for being out there on our nights, on our overnights, protecting us, keeping us safe. Basically, you know, everybody wants to talk about different things that are going on, but you guys really show the class and character of our crew. We thank you so much. We'd love for you guys to come up and please take a bow and extend you guys our gratitude. Please. Thank you again, team. Really, really appreciate that. Have a great evening. Thank you, guys. All right, Wendy, moving on, please.
Next is approval of minutes. It would be for the March 25th, 2025 executive and public sessions, April 8th, 2025 executive and public sessions, and the April 22nd, 2025 executive and public session.
Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, all the minutes have been approved. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wendy. Now, moving along, public comment, agenda items only. Would anybody wish to speak? Come on up, please, Janet. We don't have our microphones set up properly.
Usually too short for it anyway. Oh, look at that. All right. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay. Like a rock star. Okay. Janet Jackal. I live at 31 Stony Brook. I'm a member of the Environmental Commission who have spoken to you last time about this tree ordinance that's proposed. And I'm not going to go over what they said about all the environmental issues. This is more personal. I live at 31 Stony Brook, and our house is on the side of a steep wooded hill that goes down to East Creek. And on the other side of East Creek, there's a steep wooded hill coming down from Mount Drive. In the 46 years that I've lived here, the whole area is heavily wooded. 46 years we've been here, almost. Nobody's cut down the trees, except, little ones around the house and so on. And there's a good reason for that, which is that everybody knows that on steep hills like that, it's a mistake to denude the area of the trees. And you heard all the environmental reasons already. But just a few days after you guys had your first discussion of this ordinance, we woke up to the sound of chainsaws. And over the next 3 days, most of one of the lots across the street had every single tree removed down to the point where it was too close to the stream that everybody knows you're not allowed to do anything. From one border of the lot to the other, right up to the edge, it's all gone. Now, if there's nothing you can do about that, because we don't have the ordinance. If it were a developer with a large group of lots, they wouldn't be allowed to do it. Certainly not on a steep slope like that, regardless of what you want to build. So just to give you a sense, when I say steep slopes, I'm not kidding. If anybody's a skier, some of this is a black diamond trail. Okay. I even got a topo map out and discovered that there was a 20-foot drop over 43 feet. And you could do the math, but that is way more than the 25% then is considered an extremely steep slope here. So obviously I'm asking you to get an ordinance passed, but I'd like you to do something else, which is to make it very clear, that is to publicize this, because otherwise people very often just go ahead and do these things without realizing that it isn't permitted. And punishing isn't your goal. Your goal is to prevent. So tomorrow, the Environmental Commission's meeting, I will be, I've already sent horrible pictures and so on to it, and I'm going to hope that the Environmental Commission, as one of our articles in the Township newsletter, will publicize the arguments for not cutting down the trees. Regardless of what you do, I'd like to see that you both pass an ordinance, possibly strengthen it if necessary at a further time, but also make people aware that this is not good for the township, even the surrounding areas, and for neighborhoods in general. Thanks very much.
Janet, couldn't agree with you more. And we do have several infrastructure problems in town that we've result of some of these measures. Unfortunately, So we do have the ordinance that is moving along. We have discussed it several times. We do plan to continue to discuss it. We want to get something on the books and then review and kind of go from here. But your words are heard, and we will certainly look into it.
If I could add,
Yes, please.
if I could add one more thing, I think the time is of the essence. I think it's not necessary. I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiratorial person, but it's not really. It's kind of funny that this cutting happened just the week after you had a public discussion of it. We don't want people to take this as, you know, it's not the kind of thing where you see a yellow light, you say that means go really fast. Okay?
On the bright side, I guess people are paying attention.
Thank you, Janet. Any other public comments? Come on up, Ron.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. Just two quick ones. The two appointments that I see on the agenda, have we always had a deputy township clerk, number one? And number two is, what is the nature of a confidential aide to the mayor? And have we had one before? And what's the reason for that?
Chris, would you like to elaborate on the positions? I'm not sure of the history myself, but if you want to elaborate a little bit for Mr. Emma, please.
Excuse me, Chris.
About that. Okay. Mr. O'Malley is moving from the deputy clerk's position. He's in that now.
So we've always had a deputy clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we've also had confidential assistant or secretary in the administrator's office. We've filled the position. We've moved the confidential secretary into community development because they needed more help there. And we're making another one in our office so we can replace that one. So he's really a confidential assistant to more than just the mayor, but he's doing personnel, stuff like that. He could do a lot of different things. It's a wide open position.
So the combined salary of $170-something thousand is not an increase of what we are currently laying out? Is there, the new positions, does it,
It's a small increase, but it's not a complete increase. I don't know, again, I'm learning who everybody is right now, and I just got
Ron Emma.
salaries the other day. So, but I'm trying to think small, you know, it's not a large increase. It's not, these are employees. One's already an employee, so that's not going to be a major change. And the other one is basically taking a spot of somebody who's probably left. I just haven't gotten that, where that is. So.
Thank
okay,
you.
no problem.
And Ron, congratulations on the naming of the Pope.
Thank you. Congratulations, Friday.
Very cool. Jay, I didn't see you raise your hand. Come on up, Mr. Iannello.
J&L 18 Ladwood Drive. Chris, I think you said the other one, I'm not sure exactly. So just going back to these positions. So there wasn't, Brian was kind of a quasi clerk assistant?
Brian was the deputy
Okay,
clerk.
and now he's going to this other position.
he's
But there
being-
was some other position that he went in, someone was there in the other position he went
Yes, and that
into.
person went into, back into community development to
Okay.
handle, community development's very, very busy. You know, it's gotten to a point where they're keeping up with permits and stuff like that, so they needed more people in that office.
Okay.
So we moved that person back to that office.
Okay.
And then that's where she originally came from, and Brian's coming up, and then we're hiring somebody from the outside who's an experienced clerk to assist Wendy.
So I think just if I can articulate the point really quickly, this isn't $170,000 of pure incremental cost that we're taking on, right? These are two positions that are being backfilled, and one is shifting to community development. Community development is a self-sufficient entity, right? So when they have the funds, they spend within that range.
Okay. Did she work here before, this Carrie?
Which one, the deputy?
Yeah, I thought it looks familiar. Yeah,
Yes, she was the deputy clerk at one time. She's coming back.
she's coming back. Okay. Do we know why she left?
If I'm wrong, but I think she went to more of an administrative role in the other town.
Okay. Okay. All right.
She's not happy in the role she's at now, Jay. We saw an opportunity to move, we had some moving pieces that we're trying to work
Okay.
with.
All right, thanks.
Any other public comments? Come on up, Mr. Blumenthal.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Just a question with regard to an ordinance you're introducing, namely the bond ordinance with regard to the Senior Community Center. As I read it, it's $250,000, and this is going to replace or fix the kitchen. $250,000 for a kitchen sounds, for the little use that kitchen gets.
Chris, would you
does
like
get
to
some use.
elaborate on that, please? It's not all for the
It's
kitchen,
not
Ralph.
all for the kitchen.
Thank you for asking, though.
It's gonna be for multiple projects within that building, including flooring. There's several different projects we're gonna attack, in there, but that's also a bond ordinance that covers buildings as well. It's not just for that building. We have other buildings that need, maintenance and repair that's gonna need to be upgraded. For example, just here in this building today, when you walk in the front door, I don't know if anybody comes in here when it rains, but our gutters barely absorb the water. So this is allowing us to have money there to work with. We will only fund up to $250,000. We don't fund this until we actually need to use it. So if we end up finding out it's less than that, we won't fund the 250, which is, it's allowing, the committee's gonna allow us to fund up to the 250. But if we only spend 150, that's all we would fund. It's just giving us, borrowing power up to that. So if we find problems, we can get it done, and we have 5 years to actually spend that money. So if something else breaks or we need other issues to fix, we can do that.
What is the estimate for just the kitchen?
The kitchen, I don't have them all broken down. I'd have to actually go and look and see what that is. I don't have that in front of me at this point in time. That's coming from something that was done before I got here, so I'd have to go and get that.
Yeah, okay, because the way it was written, it looked like the whole amount was for the kitchen. I said, wait.
No, absolutely not. But it's as the administrator explained. We own several properties. Several need some fixes, tidying up, whatever you want to say. And the kitchen is one of those items, which is why it's on there.
Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
Any other public comments on agenda items only? All right, seeing none, Karen, come on up.
Just a note in advance, if there's any comments on the tree ordinance, we'd recommend making them as part of the public hearing on that particular ordinance. That way it's part of the record on that. Had a feeling, but.
All right, I don't think anybody else. All right, seeing none, let's move along then, please.
Okay, next would be the consent agenda, which would be for resolutions 2025-132 to 2025-142.
Can we get a motion, please?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, resolutions 2025-132 to 2025-142 have been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 2025-11 is an ordinance authorizing acquisition by eminent domain of Pappas Farm property, Block 129, Lots 4 and 4Q on the tax map of the Township of Homedale. The motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for May 27th, 2025.
Can we get a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-11 will be set for public hearing. Thank you. The next for introduction is ordinance 2025-12, which is a salary ordinance for township officials and non-aligned employees. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for May 27th, 2025.
Can I get a motion, please?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-12 will be set for public hearing. Thank you. Next, for introduction, is ordinance 2025-13, which is a bond ordinance providing for improvements to the Senior Community Center and other municipal facilities by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $250,000 thereof and authorizing the issuance of $238.95 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for May 27th, 2025.
Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, bond ordinance 2025-13 will be set for public hearing. Thank you. Next is hearing on ordinance 2025-08, which is an ordinance approving disposition of the township's fee simple real property interest in block 36.01, lot 1.01, and commonly known as 760 North Beer Street.
Okay, any public comments on the ordinance? Ralph, come on up.
Hi, Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. I take it this one goes together with the next one. I'd appreciate it, just a couple of sentences from you folks as to what's happening here. Because just knowing blot and lot doesn't really tell you what's going on.
Absolutely. I'll let our attorney, Mr. Collins, give you
Thank
a
you.
little rundown.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. So this is a residential property located at the intersection of North Beer Street and Homedale Road, catty corner with the Garden State Parkway. It's actually an interesting land use situation, but essentially there's a right-of-way and actually the fee simple interest to the property between the house that's currently there and the Garden State Parkway is where Beer Street was originally aligned prior to the Garden State Parkway getting cut through. And it looks like way back when that property was never actually conveyed to the current property owner, and title was unclear, and so the property owner reached out to the township and requested that to obtain title to that property. It's taken many years because we also had to get clearance from the Turnpike Authority to make sure they weren't putting any interest on it, and you know how long that could take. But they didn't have any interest, and the township did review, and considering that certain considerations about how the property's been maintained by them this entire time, that it was appropriate to do it for nominal consideration. So this conveys to that property owner both the fee interest, which is the actual property interest, and it also vacates the right-of-way that the township actually still has in effect in the backyard.
So it's land that's behind the house. Okay, because one partial rumor is that it related to what had been talked about by the county of creating a circle at that intersection.
Absolutely nothing to do with that.
No, the renderings for that are upstairs. It's on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah, okay. Is that in any way going forward at this point in time?
I believe it's supposed to start moving forward by the end of this year.
So they are.
We'll check and confirm, but
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was the last I heard.
It was a proposal, and that proposals can come and go.
Yeah, agreed. I'll double check and try to have something for the next meeting. But my understanding, last I heard, was that before the end of this year, it's supposed to start moving forward.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the ordinance? Okay, seeing none. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-08 has been successfully passed. Thank you. The next is hearing on ordinance 2025-09, which is an ordinance authorizing the vacation of a portion of former North Beer Street right-of-way traversing block 36.01, lot 1.01, and commonly known as 760 North Beer Street.
Okay, any public comments? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Bless you.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2025-09 has been successfully passed. Thank you. The next is ordinance 2025-10, which is an ordinance regarding tree removal and replacement within the Township of Homedale.
Public hearing. Karen, come on up, please.
Excuse me. Karen Strickland, 26 Hayward Hills Drive. Thank you so much for doing this ordinance. It's about time, and thank you very much for the 2.5 caliper tree addition that you did last meeting. That was really good. There's just still one slight problem with it, is that there isn't quite enough incentive for people to really try to replace trees. And so as the replacement alternatives, I do hope that you are considering changing the C replacement alternatives, number 1B, to, it says right now, pay a fine of $100 per tree removed. But maybe it could be something like pay a fine of what it would cost to replace a tree, which maybe would be $400 or $1,000. $1,000 is what the township charges if you want to donate a tree to the town. So I hope that you will consider amending this just one more time. Thank you very much.
So, Karen, we've discussed this a bunch, and we appreciate all the efforts that everybody goes through. Before you got here, Janet made a few comments as well. So, the ordinance, I guess, kind of kept with the spirit of what the state was putting out there. We wanted to get something on the books. We're aware of the DEP regulations and stuff like that. And we do plan to continue to discuss and revisit. But our intention was to move forward rather than table it and delay it any further, and then continue to review it in the future. And as you know, at least I hope you know and believe, we will continue discussions with you. But that's where we're at the moment.
Okay, appreciate that, because we don't want to make it too easy to have what happened at Janet's house, and they go, oh yeah, we'll just pay $1,000, 10 trees, we're done, right? And then what do we do to maintain our town? So, thank you to keep it on your horizon.
Absolutely agree, and thank you so much. Ralph, he beat you, Jay.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. This is a topic that I've been concerned about for a long time, and I'm glad to see that you're moving forward with it. I want to bring up two topics that you need to follow up on beyond today. One is education, and the other is enforcement. Without education, nobody will do what you want them to do. And two pieces of this. One is that I suggest that you notify the tree companies, because they're the ones that actually usually do it rather than the property owner themselves. And then I know the Environmental Commission is going to be considering this tomorrow night, and we'll probably put together some draft of a newsletter article and to publish to the public what it is, and that could should be done potentially together with the Steve Winters, because one piece of it is if a member of the public wants to do something like this, what do they do? Who do they contact? What's the permit process? All of that will come from Steve. So I think making it clear to everyone that cutting down trees randomly or non-randomly is inappropriate, and that people should know that, and there are clear negative issues, such as what Janet talked about. We just see that whole hillside is going to wash downhill. And this comes into relationship with another thing that I know Steve is working on, something about grading and steep slopes, which are beyond simply issuing construction permits. People will regrade their property without getting any permits, and that can cause runoff, erosion on adjacent properties, and there's sort of a hole there as to how we look at things. If somebody wants to build something, you've got to go get a construction permit. But if you want to simply regrade, you don't. And so that can have some negative consequences as well. The other thing is is enforcement. And I haven't met and talked to Chris before, but I think this is something that Chris and the staff and Steve need to address. They need to have a permit process. They need to have a process for engaging with a certified tree expert. Because if somebody comes in and says, I'm not sure if this tree is healthy or not, you have to have someone to turn to and say, yeah, this is disease, go ahead and take it out. Or it's not, it should stay. So there's professional judgments that are involved. The draft ordinance, or the ordinance that's on the table, talks about referring it to the engineer. I'm not sure that the engineer themselves would know. Maybe someone in his firm would have the right credentials to be able to do it. But you need to, the town needs to have appropriate processes in place so that the ordinance can be enforced and be meaningful. And lastly, the town has had for close to 20 years a tree removal, replanting ordinance in 311610 that applies to major developments. There's a hole there as well, in that we've had a couple of instances where prior to even coming to the planning board, a developer will strip a property And there's nothing the way the ordinances are currently written to cover that. If you come into the planning board or the zoning board, doesn't matter which, would say, I want to develop this property, they haven't done anything with the property. Oh, there are trees on it, now you have to do the following. But if the trees were removed prior to the application, it's sort of in limbo land. You don't get what you want. And you know, the property on Red Hill Road near the Parkway is a classic example of that. I mean, they even demolished a historic house without anything happening. So, I mean, I hate to be too much of a, we want to tell everybody what they got to do, but for the sake of the community, you want to limit some of these things which are negative and have negative implications for the neighbors and for the community. So that goes beyond the current ordinance, but I've seen that, you know, and you've seen some of these instances which have happened whether we like it or not. And if we could tighten things up a little bit so that in some ways, and you know, maybe Mike has some suggestions as to how to do that to catch the bad guy before he does something bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's some that's we can't necessarily look into a developer's mind to say, woo, you're on the wrong path. But that's almost what it comes down to, trying to say. We want to keep the community the way it is, the environment in the community with a largely forested tree canopy, which is good for the environment, and the like. So I thank you for considering this. I definitely support it the way it is, the improvements as maybe Karen suggested, and to look at how it's enforced and implemented.
So, Ralph, excellent comments, and thank you very much. But you're definitely preaching to the choir, right? This group's been acquiring property, moving forward, trying to prevent development as best we can, and that's evident by the ribbon cutting yesterday. At the beginning of this year, the deputy mayor and myself sat down with Steve Winters at length and basically, picked his brain and went through a bunch of things that they had going on, things that he wanted to move forward on, as evidenced by the short-term housing ordinance, this ordinance. We did speak about the grading as well, because that's obviously a big issue as well. And then Mr. Cherbini also explained to you how the moves we made, which Ron pointed out on the agenda earlier, how to beef up the community development, because some of these things, I don't want to say they're falling through the cracks, because that's not fair, but they needed more attention. I think that's probably the right way to put it. Yeah. So it is certainly on our radar. We are trying to move forward on this as diligently as possible. Things take time. We will continue to move things forward. We appreciate that you recognize that it is being looked after and move forward. I agree with that property on Red Hill Road. That was a travesty, and I could think of a couple other properties in town where the same thing happened, and it just shouldn't happen. We will continue to fight this and continue to move it forward, but thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
And Ralph, I'm just also going to make a brief comment. One of the reasons we have made some changes in the roles of employees or bringing new employees on is because we recognize community development also needs to be more active in enforcement. And the way things were structured, it wasn't working. So we are trying to get to that point where we will have active enforcement so that people just don't do what they want and then after the fact say, oh, well, sorry, it's done.
Yeah, I think that the aspect that I've seen in that regard is there's staff that dominantly stays in this building. And you need to have one or two people or somebody who's out looking at what's going on.
And they are the first to complain that they don't have the ability to do that. So what we've done is try to move things around a little bit so that, and bring a couple others aboard so that we can now go back to being able to enforce.
And you might also want to coordinate that a little bit with the police department, and that they're out about town every day all over. And if they happen to see something of one of these natures, they should be sensitive to it and bring it to your, or not necessarily you, but to Chris and to the staff's attention so that the right person can follow up on it.
Absolutely, Ralph. And as you've seen, our team is out there. They're alert at night and definitely watching as they are during the day. But thank you very much. Any other? Come on up, Mr. Yanella.
Jay Yanella, 18 Ladwood Drive. I respect everything, all the efforts of these people, but, and going back to a debate I had many weeks ago in the back of the room with some of them, it's sort of being framed like the builders are doing this, or the transplants from New York are doing this, or these people that want to put in their big swimming pool are doing this. I can tell you firsthand, on Ladwood Drive, on Rambling Brook, on Candle, people have taken down trees because we have to. And as I told people 3 weeks ago, I had to take out 20 white pines a few months ago. It's the last friggin' thing I've wanted to do. But I had to, because during those windstorms, one of my neighbors came down and freaked the hell out of us. And and we in New Jersey, just to review, have a 5% mandatory hurricane deductible, okay? 5%. In my case, that's $50,000, okay? So I can't have a rambling, scrambling, old 50-year-old white pine cause me a $50,000 hit. So I took out 20, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. My neighbor doesn't know what they're gonna do, but there have been, admittedly, Ralph, we should have forestry, I get it, but there have been, since I moved into that area, hundreds of white pines taken out for safety reasons or because they're just dying. So the notion that maybe I don't want to put white pines, maybe I want to put holly, maybe I want to put something below 2.5 inch. The concept of me paying $1,000 per, that's $20,000 fine to the town or replace, I mean, that's just not practical. So I get and respect everything we're doing, but I would argue at least 50% of the trees being taken down by existing residents, many of which have been in this town 20, 40 years, or because they have to. The last thing they want to do is see their neighbor through the yard or to the right or left, but they have to. And they may not want or be in a position to spend $20,000 in fines or even $10,000 because, as you know, the tree costs are a lot and everything else like that. So we need to keep it real. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good comments, Jay. Obviously, there's always two sides to every coin, right? So we are, as I mentioned earlier, going to continue to look at this ordinance and work on it and try to move things forward. We do have problems in town. I do agree with everything you mentioned that is problematic. So we will continue to move it forward as best we can for sure.
Thanks.
Any other comments on this ordinance? All right, Bill. First time, long time.
Hi, Bill Little, 8 Coventry Square. Yeah, Jay makes some really good points, but I wanted to follow up, two things. Follow up on what Ralph said about education and getting the people in the township to know that this is now going to be the ordinance. I think part of the education is going to be saying why you're passing this, and just saying because the state told us to is not very compelling. People need to understand that, yeah, it's your property, but when what you do on your property affects the people, you know, downstream from you, literally or figuratively, you know, you need to be more responsible about it. So the other thing is, I'm going to get back to the fine thing. I know you want to leave it at $100 now. I support the Karen's proposal that it be tied to the cost of replacement, because right now I take down a couple trees and say, oops, here's $200, and it costs the township $1,000 to plant 2 other trees. Where's that money coming from? It gives the appearance of the township subsidizing noncompliance. So I know you said you're going to look at it, you're going to watch it carefully. Just be aware of where's that money coming from. So, yeah, thanks.
Bill, very much appreciate the comments, and I agree with you 100%. Education is always, I don't want to say the hardest part, but it's certainly what we need to try to lead with. So we will be trying to get the word out there, and I think so far it's obviously gotten some people's attention. A few of us were talking about it earlier, how we've actually been approached, you know, on the streets with it to discuss. So we will continue to try to make this known.
Okay.
Janet? Ralph, your time might be up for this segment.
Okay, I did want to comment on Jay's comment, because in the ordinance it says hazard trees may be removed with no fee or replacement requirement. And there is a description of what is a hazard tree. Perhaps if you make sure that that basically covers real issues. I've certainly had to have a tree taken out because it was close to the house and dying. And you know, if it's the house or the tree and the tree's dying anyway, well, goodbye tree. But I think there are ways to address this, and it's certainly the case you don't want trees falling all over the place. I think that as written, this probably covers most of the cases he's concerned with, and clarification would be useful and maybe make other people comfortable with the issue.
Thank you again, Janet. Got to be quick, Ralph. Please.
Just Janet covered half of what I was going to say, that the intent of the ordinance is to not be too difficult when there is a real reason, and that's what that hazard tree is all about. And that's what comes back to what I was referring to earlier, the enforcement. It's important that one has available at staff an appropriate licensed tree person that can go and look and say to a homeowner, yeah, these are hazardous, these have to go, they fall under the exception, you don't need any further permit or anything else. And to make it simple for homeowners to get good advice as to when it is a problem and when not, to take those worries off the table.
Thank you, Ralph. Any other comments? All right, Jenny, you've been awfully quiet tonight. Can we get a motion, please?
Hey, they stole my thunder.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, for the helpful and informative comments.
Okay. Ordinance 2025-10 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wendy. Mr. Tribini?
Thank you, Mayor. My report's very short tonight. I just wanted to let you know that if you were out by Pleasant Valley Road last couple days, we did get that project up and running. I think we got it done for one day, and then of course the rain came today. I think it stopped it, but hopefully as the week goes on, we're looking to have that done within a week, as long as rain doesn't slow it down. I know they were doing pipe work. They mobilized everything on last week, and I spoke to them. We're also going to complete the rest of the year. Whatever projects they had open will be completed and closed out shortly.
Thank you very much, Chris. Mr. Collins?
Thank you, Mayor. No report tonight, but one housekeeping item that we identified is that because the state moved the primary election back from June 3rd to June 10th, primary day is now the date that we had scheduled the Township Committee meeting at the beginning of this year, which conflicts. So a motion would be in order for the meeting to be moved, and the recommended date is for a morning meeting on June 13th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Michael. Could we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, the motion has been successfully passed. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Michael. Mr. Engineer, Ed, how are you doing this evening? You've been awful quiet.
Doing well, Mayor, thank you. Just a couple quick things. We are due to open bids for the Crawford's Corner Road next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We have, I believe, approximately 10 bidders thus far have submitted. Haven't had any significant questions concerning the plans and specs, so that's always a good sign. Usually there's lots of questions and lots of concerns, so hopefully that's representative that things should go smoothly. We'll collect the bids and roll up the information and get that over to you as quickly as possible. The original intent was to try to do the award, assuming everything is in order, the following week at the 27th, I think it is, the council committee meeting. Other than that, I've been working with your new administrator, trying to put our thoughts together on various infrastructure items that need some attention, so I expect we'll continue to do that as we start to prioritize and understand what we need to deal with in the short term. New blood is bringing in some new ideas and thoughts on how we want to do things, so happy to work with Chris and get things moving forward in a positive direction that hopefully we'll get some things accomplished. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed. Moving on to committee reports. Mr. Romano.
Thank you, Mayor. starting with the Homedale Library. The Monmouth County connection was a huge success. Over 35 people visited for services and information, with over 25 people obtaining passport photos and 6 people obtaining county ID cards. I was one of those people, and my passport came in today's mail, so that was one of the quickest turnarounds for a passport I've ever had. So big thank you to the county clerk, the county surrogate, and the county sheriff for taking the time to be at the library for the event. We have a couple of programs coming up for the kids. We have 2 concerts, the Big Jeff Music on June 12th at 10:30, and the Peas and Carrots Band on August 14th at 11. We also have the New Jersey Snake Man coming to the library. He's going to be teaching kids about reptiles and snakes, obviously. June 28th, sorry, that's June 28th at 6:30. And then we have our Color Our World event. There's going to be a stage and story workshops, reading, imagination, performing, July 10th at 11 a.m. They're also the library, all the previous author talks we've had. For anyone who missed any of the library's previous author talks, you can now stream them all on the library's website in the archive section. Moving on to the Board of Ed. The Homedale School District is making it easier than ever for parents and guardians to stay engaged in their child's education. Beginning next school year, the parents and staff will be able to use Parent Square, an award-winning school-to-home communications platform designed for K-12 education. With its intuitive two-way communications platform, Parent Square will enable parents to stay involved via email, text, and web, all while maintaining the highest standards of privacy and security. We're looking forward to the launch of Parent Square on July 1st. SAT 7th graders showcase their civic leadership by identifying New Jersey problems and proposing policy solutions at the Project Citizen competition, with one winning group advancing to the state competition at Rutgers University. Homedale Township School District proudly celebrates Melissa Menges, who was recognized by the New York Giants as the Week 4 High School Flag Football Coach of the Week for her outstanding leadership in building the Homedale Flag Football program and promoting girls in athletics. Organized by Mrs. Malizia's 3rd grade ESL class, Village School held a donation drive from April 28th to May 2nd to support the SPCA and thank them for their Read to a Dog program, collecting donations of much-needed items for the SPCA, including wet dog and cat food, chew toys, treats, laundry detergent, and more. Homedale High School senior Rocco Impreviduto's play, written in his playwriting class, was selected for performance at the Jersey Shore Young Playwrights Festival, earning him the honor of working with the director and having his play presented on Saturday, June 28th at the Duncan Smith Theater. Congratulations, Rocco. That's cool. Indian High School 4th grader Elizabeth Ustinova achieved remarkable success by becoming the bronze champion in slalom at the 2024-2025 National Snowboarding Competition in Cooper Mountain, Colorado, a remarkable achievement for a student of her age. From the Veterans Committee, the next Veterans Coffee and Conversations will be held on Thursday, May 29th at 10:30 at the Senior Community Center. All veterans and Gold Star family members are invited to attend this informal get-together and enjoy coffee, bagels, and donuts. That's all I've got. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Joe. Rock, congrats, man. That's pretty damn awesome. So
Thanks.
please,
We're proud of him.
Yeah,
He's doing good work.
that's great stuff. Please, your report.
Thank you. From the Homedale Police Department, 4 Homedale officers participated in the Police Unity Tour, a 4-day, 300-mile bike ride from New Jersey to Washington, D.C. Lieutenant William Bernard, Patrolman Anthony Tillman, and Patrolman Brendan Bernard departed Friday from Spring Lake with the support of Special Officer Steve Doherty and safely arrived at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington yesterday afternoon. The Police Unity Tour was established in 1997 to raise public awareness for law enforcement officers who lost their lives in the line of duty and to ensure their sacrifices are never forgotten. May is Bicycle Safety Month, an annual initiative held to promote safe cycling practices and reduce the number of cycling-related accidents. This month-long campaign is dedicated to educating cyclists, motorists, and communities about the importance of sharing the road responsibly. Key topics often covered during Bicycle Safety Month include the use of helmets, the importance of visibility through lights and reflective gear, and adherence to traffic laws. For more information, residents can visit the Homedale Police Facebook page. From our fire department, we responded to 46 calls in the month of April. 2 members started training at Monmouth Fire Academy, an accelerated program designed for college students. They will graduate in 7 weeks. The annual fund drive mailers will be sent within the next month. We appreciate our residents' support for our fire department. And some grilling safety tips. Propane, if you have a propane, check your gas tank for leaks. Remove grease and fat buildup from your grill and the tray below. Place the grill away from the house, deck railings, and out from under eaves and overhanging branches. Make sure the lid is open before lighting. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from the grilling area. If you use starter fluid when charcoal grilling, only use charcoal starter fluid. When done, let coals cool before disposing in metal containers, and never leave your grill unattended. And finally, from the Department of Public Works, the recycling center will be closed on Monday, May 26th in observance of Memorial Day. However, Zone 1 curbside recycling will still occur as normal on that day. The next large item drop-off event will be Saturday, May 24th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Bellworks Lot Number 4. Reminder, the June 14th large item drop-off has been rescheduled to Saturday, June 21st. We are also about to begin our next cycle of brush collection. The June brush collection will begin in Section A on June 2nd. Please refer to your schedule cards to learn when your section will be picked up. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Rock. Please let young Rocco know we're all proud of him. Pass the congratulations along, man.
Will do. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. From our Community Development Department, spring and summer projects, what need a zoning permit? Before breaking ground on your summer project to-do list, keep in mind that most outdoor projects do require zoning approval. These include new or replacement fences, decks and patios, swimming pools, generators and AC condensers, detached structures like sheds or gazebos, additions and garages. So contact the zoning officer for more information before you engage in the project. The Homedale Environmental Commission, they want your help. They are doing a streams survey. Homedale is rich in natural resources. We have wonderful parks for residents to enjoy, abundant trees that provide shade, and a biodiverse habitat for wildlife, including many streams and wetlands. A recent concern of residents is the potential threat of flooding on roads and into the residents' homes. The HEC would like to know the condition of the streams that surround you. Will you consider helping by completing a short survey? In order to participate in the survey, please email the answers to the following questions to Loretta Koscia. It is LCOSCIA@HomedaleTownship.com. You can also find her email on the Township website. In the subject line, indicate stream condition, and just name your stream, the address of the area observed. Are any trees down in it, and is there any trash, natural debris, and how long have you observed the stream? How has it changed? Hopefully these questions will also be posted on the website, because that's an awful lot to remember there. But you can reach out to Loretta, and she would be happy if you have any questions to assist you with it, and it's going to help our HEC as well. The Homedale Green Team. The Green Team tabled at Earth Day and Bayonet farmed and talked with residents about idling and residential energy efficiency. 2 of the community energy planning initiatives they happen to be investigating. The team is responding to comments on our Sustainable Jersey certification application and will resubmit on May 16th. The Green Team will begin reviewing the draft environmental resources inventory, and their next public meeting will be on Monday, June 2nd. All members of the public are invited to attend. You can just look on the website for more information as to location for that, but we generally meet over at Bellworks. Homedale Heritage Committee, the heritage displays at the Homedale Library. The displays in celebrating the Asian Heritage Month continue right now at the library. Wa Zai South Chinese School will highlight the cultures of China from May 12th to May 21st. And Homedale Indian Association will display the cultures of India from May 22nd to May 31st. In June, a group of families from the Homedale Greek community will present a display as well at the Homedale Library. And a reminder that the Homedale Heritage Day 2025 will be on Sunday, October 26th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. over at the high school. If you or your organization did not participate in last year's event but would like to participate this year, please reach out to the committee via email, and as well you can find their email address on our website, but it is heritagecommittee@homedaletownship.com. We've also assembled a committee to prepare for the celebration of the 250th anniversary of our independence coming up in July, on July 4th of 2026. That will be our birthday, our 250th birthday. There's much planning going into action for events leading up, beginning in June of this year, leading up to July of 2026. So feel free, mark your calendars. It's the Saturday after graduation. I think it was June 21st is going to be a kickoff. The event, there will be more information posted on our website when the times are all confirmed. But if you are interested in submitting any ideas, participating in any way, please reach out. Again, you can look on our website for that. We are also looking for folks, if you have anything regarding Homedale's history. The showcase at the library has been reserved for, I believe it's July 1st of this year. So please, again, reach out if there's anything you would like to share, let us borrow in order to display that. I just also wanted to mention, I'm very excited to hear about our teacher, Melissa Menges, being honored by the Giants for the program she's put together at the school. I was, my daughter participated with the cheer group here at Homedale High School when Ms. Menges was still new in her role as a cheer coach, and she is an individual that doesn't do it just because it's an extra job. Her heart is in it, the best interests of the students are in it, and I've always admired the job she's done with that. So I'm very happy to hear she's been honored, and she is a Homedale resident. So, and that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. So yesterday, Deputy Mayor LaMountain, Committeeman Lucarelli, Committeeman Romano, and I were proud to cut the ribbon on a beautiful tract of land that was preserved through the dedicated use of our open space funds. I am grateful to Father Pat and Edwin from St. Catherine's Church who joined us for the ceremony, and also to former Mayor Rocco and Preveduto who got the ball rolling on preserving this property last year. This newly protected green space will safeguard natural habitats, offer passive recreation for our residents, and enhance Homedale's inherent beauty for future generations. This achievement underscores the Township Committee's strong commitment to environmental stewardship and preserving our cherished quality of life here in Homedale. I can say great job, guys. Thank you. Homedale's Memorial Day ceremony will be held on Monday, May 26th at 10:30 a.m. right in front of Town Hall here. Please join me and the rest of the Township Committee as we honor all of those individuals who gave the last full measure of devotion in service to our country. Earlier this afternoon, Kim and myself attended the Older Americans Luncheon over at the Senior Center. I would estimate we had about 100 residents in attendance over there. Allison, who accepted that proclamation earlier, was running the show as Bob was doing some other things running around. But another great event that Bob, Allison, Lori, and Sean from our team put together. Nothing but smiling faces. We were welcomed and chatted with a bunch of people. So always great to see those events. So thank you to our team for putting that together. I wanted to give a shout out to Jack Powers, who last year in his junior year broke the New Jersey record for face-off wins in lacrosse, and this year he surpassed 1,000 face-off wins, which is a pretty phenomenal number. The record was in the 700-something range. Don't quote me on the exact number, but congratulations to Jack, and continue going strong. And last, I just wanted to mention, we have our statistics. We don't have April yet, but we got the statistics for our emergency service calls in March. And I am extremely delighted and proud to say that not one call was missed in the township in the entire month of March. We missed 37 calls alone in the month of February prior to getting some assistance from the county. I want to reach out again and thank Chief Trichetta, President Pasillo, for really sitting down and digging in with us on this to make this happen. My understanding is they have at least 5 new recruits, several of which are already in EMT school. And on top of that, the percentage of calls that were answered by our team was higher than the prior month. So, guys, congratulations. Thank you for all you do for this community, and thank you for everything. That's all I have for tonight. Any public comments? Oh, here we go, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Yeah, he's right. We always have something to say. One thing I wanted to make sure that you were aware of is that Monmouth Conservation Foundation had an affair at Bayonet Farm on Saturday, and Karen was there giving tours of the Harding House to anybody who was interested. I sort of helped her, but she did all the work. But it's just a way to let more of the folks in the county, folks who maybe have money that can do something, to see what you would spend the money on at the Harding House. And the little that I saw of it did look very nice, but there's still a lot of boring, expensive stuff between the outside and the inside that needs to be checked into, like, electrical and plumbing and so forth. Also, it would be really nice if in the next township newsletter you put a job description out so that people could understand what in the world Brian O'Malley is now doing. So in case they had a question that might relate to whatever he's doing right now, they could know who to contact. And the same would be true for Kerry. And I also didn't understand on the website about her job, it said that she starts work on June 1st, but her salary was retroactive to January 1st of this year? What?
I'll let Michael explain that, Jenny.
Yeah, the salary is not retroactive. The term is. So the ordinance.
Well, that's what sounded kind of queer, and I was wondering.
If you look at the township ordinance, it says that the deputy clerk receives a 2-year term. But if the appointment occurs after January 1st of the year, it's retroactive to that. I think the practical effect, the way it's worded, is so that the person gets the remainder of the first year and the entire second year if they start midstream. So the wording is intended to provide that.
So you're saying it's not financial, but
No.
Does it have anything to do with the length of term of service when she retires for pension or anything?
Whenever this ordinance was established, they clearly intended to give the deputy township clerk a 2-year term that terminates at the end of the second calendar year. So this just
does Wendy have the same verbiage?
Municipal clerk is state statutory. It's a 4-year term and then tenured. So it's a little different.
And so it would be nice if we know what she was supposed to do. And also, could we have a laundry list of what this $250,000 kitchen is going to be? Because it is a real jaw dropper when we mention it to people that you're giving us a $250,000 kitchen.
Yeah, we don't have the laundry list yet, as the administrator said earlier. It's going to go towards several projects, and if we don't use the money, then we just return it.
That sort of explains it, but holy smokes, $60,000 stove or something that gets used 3 times a year? I don't know, but it would be nice to just let somebody
we will
know
definitely
what we're-
detail all of the repairs that happen at the kitchen for the senior center for sure, because that one is certainly earmarked and will be moving
'cause
forward.
I just use the refrigerator and the stove to boil water twice a year, so I can do that.
Antoinette
on
might
my
disagree
grill.
with you about that, but
Okay, thank you.
and Jenny, thank you for your comments. And listen, as far as Brian O'Malley goes, we'll definitely get you out that description of his job. Brian's an awesome young guy. He contributes here. He's a huge part of the team and an asset to the town. So thank you very much, though. Come on up, Jay.
Jay Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. I want to probably for the 5th time congratulate the committee, Rocco for getting it going, Mr. Foster for getting it finished, for that acquisition of land from St. Catherine's. I think it's a win-win. I think it's a great relative value for the town for what we're getting, that whole byway there, preserving that piece of land. I think that's an excellent purchase. Rocco, again, congratulate to Rocco Jr. That's from a theater family, that's a really great award. Now, way off the path here, I'm going to talk about streetlights for a second, but not Homedale Street. You knew it was coming. But so this is going to be a little unorthodox, but I'm going to ask all of you who have relationships with the Monmouth County Commissioners to relay this, because I'm sure they didn't realize it, but what I saw on the way to Delicious Orchards this past weekend was probably one of the most revulsive things I've seen in this county. And it was, and I could send you the picture, my group thought of tweeting it out, but we don't want to wade into the political arena. But we saw a Golden Hanlon Arnone Duraco sign right next to that infamous telephone pole that snapped 4 or 5 months ago, right on that corner by the old Colts Neck Pizza, where my daughter and I, 7 or 8 months ago, almost crashed because there was no visibility because that street light was out. So just to pyramid that, we had a street light that was out, one of the most critical street lights in a dangerous intersection where if there's bad visibility, someone could go flying right into it. Someone, when the light was out, actually a few weeks after I almost had a problem there, flew into it some way, snapped the pole. 4 or 5 months later, of course, JCP&L is not fixing it. And then you have the Monmouth County, whoever assistant or whoever, slap an election sign right next to it. Not calling up and saying, hey, you know where I'm going with this? It's an indirect, shameless, revulsive thing to see an election sign by our commissioners right next to this absurdity. So if you can pass that on to them, because I can't go to their meetings and start slinging it with, there's only so much of this I can do. I would really appreciate it. And for the safety of people in this town, that light needs to be replaced. That was there for a strategic reason. I experienced why it should have been there. It needs to be replaced. And while you're at it, you can tell them to replace the thousands of other lights that are out in Monmouth County. Thousands. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I'm definitely going to focus on our lights here, and we appreciate what you do with that. But please send me that picture, and I'll see what kind of traction I can get for sure. And listen, I don't want to toot this committee's horn, but I think it's appropriate since you mentioned it. I believe, from what I've asked of people in town, that this is the first use of open space funds for acquisitions since something like 2007. We're serious about that commitment. We will continue to move forward on it, and we believe it's the right thing for town. Any other comments? I'm going to save you for last, Pat. Come on up, Karen.
Karen Strickland, 26 Hayward Hills Drive. Your ears should be ringing because I only have good things to say. I wanted to, first of all, thank you. I wanted to follow up with Jay last time because he thanked you for having the theater kids here and extolling them. Two of my kids were in the theater and nobody ever came here, and I think that was a really great addition to recognize all the different groups in the school. Are the Snakes coming on June 26th? Thank you. Also, the Harding House. You guys have done a phenomenal job. This township, so on Earth Day, I did 5 tours. Over 100 people went through it, and then the Monmouth Conservation. And at one point, Larry Fink was standing at the door, and he was saying to people, now, with the kitchen behind him and the new room in front of him, he said, this is like the Wizard of Oz. You know, this is that moment when you walk through and you see color. Because the part of the house that has been painted and the floors are done is glorious. I mean, and I'm looking right at you, Rocco, because I know that we talked about this a bunch of years ago. And great job. And I hope it just continues to build that facility up. And also, Environmental Commission tomorrow night is going to be talking about the environmental resources inventory that we just got done. And I'm going to give it to you guys, and then it's going to go on the website so the community can comment on it. And the last question is, what is the status of the open space plan?
It is in the works. Administrator Tribini, as you know, just got here, so we still have some rolling out to do, just with everything else that was getting up to speed. So we have had a few emails going back and forth. We do have a bunch of people that are engaged with it, so it is certainly moving forward, Karen. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, that group, the Thespian group, really brought a ton of energy here. And you could just see from the administration down, the teachers running it, the kids, they're just all in. Ironically, I believe it was the next day that another article came out. I think it was also in the Post, just mentioning the program and what was going on with that group. So excellent. And then Harding House, I was up there with Brian Nagel and Bob Warden. I'm sorry, I just got to finish my thought here. It's amazing, just how it transformed with those simple repairs. And look, we're excited about, what potentially we could hopefully do there at certain point as we continue to renovate it. But please continue.
No, I just wanted to say that the theater groups at Homedale High School have been wonderful. I'm so happy they're getting supported.
All right, any other comments before I get to Pat? All right, Janet.
Since Karen's been saying nice things, I wanted to say something about Barbara Kovaleski, who has been a real advocate for the Harding House. I've spoken with her. I know partly because she has gone for a lot of grants to get this kind of work done, and as president of Friends of Homedale Open Space, I keep writing these letters of support because the work that she's trying to do is really, really terrific, both on the Harding House, and she's also been doing work and getting funding for the park up on Crawford Hill. So I keep saying thank you to her, but I think you ought to also.
And we absolutely. We certainly do that all the time. I mean, the minute I got on the committee, Barb's been a huge, tremendous resource. She's always smiling. She's always in a good mood. She knows her stuff, as you mentioned. She's like a Homedale encyclopedia. Really good people. Happy to have her here. Kim, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted, Janet, you had reached out to me, so you're going to save me the hassle of having to return a response by email. But you had asked about the status of the Robert Wilson Park. And I had spoken to Chris for him to check up on that for me. And we are in the midst of having all of the due diligence completed before we start work on anything, the planning and work on anything. We just need to make certain we know the property, know where there's any underground lines, make certain that everything is not active, those sorts of things. So that is underway. I don't have a specific date for you, but I can tell you we're anxious as well to start planning and get something going with that. So, but everything's underway.
All right, Pat, come on up. I think you're the last one. How's that grandson doing?
Great, thank you. 4 months old now. Patrick Truskita, 56 Line Road. It's been 5 years since Bell Labs vacated the Crawford Hill Annex building. And in that time, it's been completely unused and degrading. The Township Committee put together in 2023, I think, it was in need of redevelopment. And I believe that last year we appointed Crawford Hill Holdings to put a redevelopment plan. Well, it is now, and they had until April 30th of this year to put that redevelopment out. My question is, has anyone seen a redevelopment plan? And what are we doing about that property? As well as, again, I mentioned it in 2024, but in 2025, none of the 25 taxes have been paid on that property. This is an area that's in need of redevelopment. We need to keep it going here. It's right next to our beautiful Robert Wilson Park, and it's time to move forward. If this developer can't do it, let's appoint a new developer to do something, like I've mentioned, raise the building down to the ground and make it a nice entranceway to Robert Wilson Park.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pat. So there's definitely things going on. I'm going to let the attorney take this one and kind of give the update.
Sure, Mayor. The developer has been in contact with us. We have had meetings in the past couple of months, and their attorney and myself and special counsel Andy Bayer have been in close contact. They did complete a submission of a concept plan prior to the end of April deadline as set forth in the redevelopment plan. I think, generally speaking, it includes a co-working concept as consuming, I'd say, a majority of the building potentially, along with other uses that would be consonant with the redevelopment plan. We do need to get that refined, and I think there's a deadline at the end of June to have things more formally established, so we're working with them. So that would be the status update I would provide publicly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, seeing no other further comments, can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?